Welcome to Put a Word on It, a podcast presented by Men of Valor. In each episode, we're going to talk with a different man, but each one with a unique journey from brokenness to freedom. I'm your host, Rudy Kalis. I spent over 40 years as a TV sportscaster, then retired and joined the Men of Valor program as a volunteer. So join the conversation. Reconciling men to God, their families, and society. Welcome to another edition of Put a Word on It, brought to you by Interstate AC. Good folks that have supported us for a long time. We thank you for your support. I want you to meet Tom Berry. Tom Berry is one of the mentors that we have here who works here at Men of Valor. It's just interesting how God works in his life. He's from New York. A different background, a different kind of a life, looking for places to go. You'll hear in the interview with him, but God said, no, I need to get you to come right here. And now he's investing with all these men that have gotten out of prison and just giving them hope and encouragement in their lives. He's a good man. Here's Tom. So you came from New York. What brought you here?
Well, we moved out of New York in 2000. We actually went to Pensacola to get involved in a missionary organization. And my wife and I wanted to be missionaries and go to Africa, but it just didn't work out. So we ended up moving to North Carolina with the Bible school that we were going to, and we were there for 17 years, and we moved here last year. I have a daughter in the area, so we've done a little bit of moving around. You know, we've stayed active in churches, but so that's how we got here.
So it was your daughter, that in fact she was here and you wanted to be closer to her, that brought you to Nashville?
Yes. My kids are scattered. I got 2 in North Carolina, 1 here and 1 in Michigan. So we do some moving around.
Mine are scattered around as well.
Yeah.
How did you hear about Men of Valor?
Actually, my wife got on the internet. We were here for a few months and, we didn't know a lot of people. And she just thought it would be good for me to be involved in a ministry. So she looked up ministries online, found Men of Valor, and she said, this is the one you want. I met Tevin, who is just a great guy. And just upon meeting him, I realized these were people I'd like to tie in with.
What was your first thought, though? Hey, these guys are ex-cons. They're getting out. How can I relate to them? Or what was your thought?
Sure. Well, in North Carolina, I had been involved with a youth detention center. I had been going in there once a week and holding Bible studies. Interestingly, the men here are, in many ways, have come to the end of themselves. The young people there were a lot of smart alecks and still thought they knew all the answers. They hadn't really reaped the fruit of their lifestyle. And it was a little tough, but I did it for 3 years. And then when I came here, I just wanted to get involved. Jesus said one of the things he'll ask, or one of the things he'll say is, I was in prison and you came to me. And I realized back in North Carolina, I had never done that. And I had been a Christian for a long time. And I thought I just wanted to fulfill that particular command of Jesus. So. I'm
going to assume that you really didn't go through any of the kind of difficulties that these guys had with the law and such.
Yeah, no.
So any part of you say, how am I going to relate? How are these guys going to listen? What can I offer to make them listen to me when I don't understand their world?
Sure. Yes, and that is a factor. However, when you come with the love of Jesus and you genuinely care about people, that is communicated in your actions and your interactions with people. And I know the gospel is the power of God for salvation. And so bringing the word of God, bringing the reconciliation of Jesus in a loving way will touch hearts and will change lives.
Seems to me, I've learned consistency is really important to these guys. But they want to know whether or not you're going to come back and come back. So did you feel like you had to earn their trust?
Yes. In some cases you do. Now, I'm interacting with a number of different people. I have one person I'm mentoring. But yeah, there's a level of distrust or just people wondering. A lot of times has to do with their own feeling of self-worth, whether they believe anyone will really pay attention to them and take them seriously. And I think you need to really show that you do. And, they're precious to Jesus. These guys are people who are really poor in spirit, many of them, and have come to a place of really being open to the gospel, being open to advice, willing to listen and to follow instructions. It really, to me, it's a blessed place to be because of the openness and the humility of the guys you're dealing with.
Tell me how often you meet with them and what kind of structure you have to your presentation.
I'm getting together with this one gentleman at least once a week, and we sit down together. We're reading a book together called The Purpose Driven Life, and we discuss the points in there. Then we go over specific things. I ask him what he's doing, if he's struggling with anything, and he's become more and more candid about that, and it's just been good to see because the temptation is to act like we have it all together, for everyone. And so when they get to the point where they realize they can trust you, that you really do care about them, then they begin to peel back and show you what's in their hearts. And so that's when the Lord can reach in and minister. And, anyone who knows the Lord and walks in love toward people can be very, very effective in this context. It really is I love coming here, I have to say.
Has it changed you?
Oh, yes. There's no question. When I saw when I saw the Lord working and transforming lives, and I saw, what's at risk with so many of these guys, I realized, I have a responsibility here to really walk closely with the Lord, to be taking the word in on a daily basis, so all that was ramped up once I got involved here.
I've often said that being around the guys that we are in prison, I'm more and more determined to live up to what I'm telling them to live up to.
Amen.
So I think it changes you, try to make me maybe a little bit better husband. What do you think for yourself?
No doubt. Really, on every level, I really feel like my life has improved since being here. And of course, that wasn't my motivation in coming. But, when we give ourselves to the Lord, God blesses us. So
you basically one-on-one mentoring. Any group participation, or is it pretty much one-on-one for you? I come to the Tuesday morning, put a word on it, which is it's a context in which the first 30 days that gentlemen come into the program, they go to these meetings and they share and they talk about things that they need prayer about. They search the scriptures during the week and share during that meeting, and we get to kind of augment and help them, through sharing, what we understand. There's a number of volunteers who go to that who are very, very learned in the Word and experienced Christians. It's a good context. We get people that are interested in the program, but I'm not sure I can handle this. I don't want to get conned. What do you tell somebody who's dabbling on the edge of maybe getting involved? I would say, I've seen a number of people come in and get involved and just watch them, their walk with the Lord being strengthened week by week. So we have a thing called a D group, which is a discipleship group where we study, and just watching the volunteers growing and getting more excited about the Lord. It just happens. And it's just wonderful to watch. Some of the guys fail and they, wind up having to leave here or maybe come back at a later time. Does it make you feel like I messed up? I didn't do it right, Lord. I made a mistake. I can see how it could make someone feel that way because, people take responsibility. They want to do the best job they can. And in fact, I was speaking to someone the other day, and this guy, you could see, was a wonderful representative of Jesus. He's got joy and peace on his face. He's a kind man. And his fellow failed, and he was wrestling with that. And, we just encouraged him, hey, you walk with the Lord, you're responsible to be faithful to God and to love these men. And I know this man was praying for him. And that, the person he was mentoring received a lot of the word and a lot of love while he was here. And I believe that our labor in the Lord is not in vain. So that the work that was done, what was input there is going to bear fruit. It may not be right now. We all, stumble and fall in one way or another. This is a more obvious, stumbling when they have to leave the program. But that doesn't mean God has finished working. Have you walked the walk of faith all your life, or do you convey to them that you've had your own struggles? Well, yeah. I mean, I had my struggles before I was saved. I got saved when I was 16, but I've had struggles since. And I try to be transparent about that and learn from the areas in which I've failed and convey that as well. The name of the program is Put a Word on It. You talk about your Tuesday mornings. Have you thought about it? Is there a word that you could offer? Yes. I was thinking about, when Jesus said, he said, when you give a feast or a banquet, he said, don't invite, your friends, your brothers, your kinsmen, your rich neighbors. He says, because they will invite you back and you'll be repaid. But he said, when you give a feast, he said, invite the poor, the maimed, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed because they cannot repay you. You will be repaid at the resurrection of the just. And, God invites us to work next to him and to be co-laborers with him, which is an amazing thing. And I'm thankful. If you bring it down to one word, Can you pick one out of that?
Yeah, just love. That's what it's all about.
I think you're so right about that.
Yeah.
Your spirit is infectious, Tom. Thank you. I know you're doing so well with the men.
Well, thank you.
Well, let me put a word on it. Love. It's as simple as it is. Jesus is the one who said, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind, and then love your neighbor as yourself. And that's exactly what Tom is doing. I like the fact that he's open and honest with them, tells the men his own difficulties and the problems he's been through in his life. And then the consistency, because we always talk about the fact that these men that have been incarcerated can really read you like a book. And they don't trust to begin with, but when they gain trust, then it's really something special for both of them. So we really thank Tom for all that he's done. So thank you for joining us. Join us again the next time as we put a word on it.